Many Cons here. Today we're going to create this lovely rainbow card. Well, let's go over the products I used to create this card. Today we're going to be using the Radiant Rainbow stamp set, and this is a large stamp set, and it has 5 rainbows, 1 large, 2 medium, 2 small, and a variety of tiny little images for you to accent your rainbow card. You have, a rainbow heart, sun, clouds, many clusters of stars and hearts, some wings, a little face, some little flower here that you can work with your leaves. You have leaves and stems. You have these little dangly looking ones that you can create, like maybe shooting stars. Maybe you can create like a wind chime with them. I'm not sure. You have 4 sentiments. And today's sentiment we're going to be using is wishing your rainbows and everything wonderful. We're going to be using some Chroma mist and turquoise and shimmer mist and pearl, glitter glaze and falling snow, our raven detail ink. We're going to be using our large rainbow today, and I went ahead and stamped this ahead of time. I'm going to puzzle piece my rainbow back together, so I have one rainbow done in gray and then the rest in my rainbow colors. What I did here is I stamped the rainbow several times, and then I cut out the pieces that I needed to create my rainbow. So I'm going to puzzle it back to create my rainbow. All these extra little pieces I'm going to save for future cards. So I'm going to move these out of our way. I'm just going to stick those in the back of my packaging so I have them available. I also stamped our cloud 4 times using our raven detail ink, and I added a little accent with a Copic marker. For our inks, I have Memento that I use in London Fog for our base, and the rest of the rainbow I use VersaMagic ink in a variety of colors, and I'll have those listed for you below. For our card panel will be made out of Natural Mama's cardstock. Our layering cardstock, or our mat, will be Raven cardstock. Our card base is from Natural Mama, and I have a little scrap of Natural Mama's cardstock for our sentiment. So I'm going to clear my everything off my desk here really quickly, bring in my splat box and our top layer of our card front panel, I should say. This is going to be our background. It's made out of Natural Mama's cardstock. I give it a quick mist with with water, and then I mist the Chroma mist on top. I'm doing that so I can create some lighter and darker. The lighter comes because the water starts to spread the mist more. So as you can see, it's like splotchy. It looks like lighter and darker, just like our sky has deeper blues and lighter blues. So for our splattered background, or background clouds, we can call it, we're going to use some sheer mist and pearl. I'm just going to add little splatters, and I removed the nozzle and use a brush to do this. I think it has better control of the splatter. Alright, so now we're going to put our rainbow back together. So I have our base, like I said, I stamped that and trimmed it out, and then I stamped each of these and trimmed the sections I needed. I'm going to use some bare layer glue, and I'm going to adhere our first top layer, which is from the pink, which is called Pink Petunia. Then our orange is going to be Mango. Then our yellow will be Thatched Straw. And all I'm doing is, like I said, puzzling it back in. The first one is the most tricky because you want to make sure that's in the right spot, and then it goes from there. So here's our yellow piece. Again, that was Thatched Straw. Our green piece will be Tea Leaves. Our blue will be Aquatic Splash, and our purple will be Spring Pansy. Now, I'm using bare layer glue to adhere these back, and I'm putting the adhesive on the little strips. If you're not comfortable with that, you can place the adhesive straight onto your base, like I do here with the blue, just to show you, and then adhere it to your little piece to the base. So now our rainbow is placed all together, and I have all these little tabs sticking out, which are my little handles. I'm just going to trim those off. I left little handles on those so that my fingers wouldn't get all inky. So I have a little loose one here. I'm going to go ahead and press that down. So we're going to use our glitter glaze to add a little shimmer and shine to our rainbow. And I'm using the most expensive tool in my craft room, which is my finger. And I know this because I've injured my finger before, and crafting without my finger wasn't easy or fun. Alright, so I'm adding that to give a little shimmer and shine on our rainbow, and I'll do the same to our clouds. I'm sure that my camera isn't picking it up as nicely as it looks in real life, but it has this beautiful shimmer and shine, which is perfect because this glitter glaze, Fallen Snow, is a clear glaze with the glitter in it. So it's just beautiful. So I'm going to set everybody back up here to the top to dry. I'm going to clean my hands so we can move on. So here's kind of a glimpse of what we're going to look at. There's our panel, and our rainbow right on top is going to pop. So we're going to go ahead and do our sentiment. For our sentiment, we're going to bring in some embossing powder and Raven detail embossing powder. I'm going to put my anti-static powder on here. Then I'm going to stamp up or ink up my stamp, and I'm using a block. I'm going to be brave here. I know, crazy, right? And I'm going to stamp that on our Matcha Mama's cardstock. Add our Raven detail embossing powder and heat set this. Going front and back, making sure that to minimize warping and make sure everybody's heat evenly. Going to set that off a little bit to cool off before I die cut it. Here are the rest of our card components: our card base, our layering cardstock, for our card mat, I should say, and our top panel. So the top panel is a little warped, but it's okay. Here's our rainbow. I added foam adhesive on the back of that, and I added foam adhesive to 2 of our clouds. I'm going to go ahead and die cut our sentiment with a rectangle, a scallop rectangle from my stash, just to add, to mimic the cloud effect. You know, the clouds are very scallopy. I wanted to add that to our sentiment. So I'm going to cut off about 1/8 of an inch, because I want 1/8 of an inch mat of the Raven, using the Raven cardstock here. So once that's all set, I'm going to adhere our top panel to our Raven cardstock, and I'm using Barely Art glue, and I should have ran this through my die cutting machine with squished between layers of cardstock, the inexpensive one, just to minimize the warping. And I didn't, because I wasn't thinking, I was just making, you know, I was in that mode. And that helps minimize the warping. It flattens your panel back out. But I make it work here. I just have to use a little more glue and press things out. So I have quite a bit of glue here, I know, but that's, like I said, is to help with the warping. I'm going to press it out. Make sure everybody's centered on here. I'm going to open my card and press from the inside to help it. So now let's move on to start building our card. I'm going to remove all the backing off our foam here for our rainbow. I'm going to clear some of it off there, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the center of our card. Now I have 2 of our clouds that I'm going to adhere flat using the Barely Art glue. I'm going to put those all the way reaching to the edge of our card, and I'm also going to flip them upside down because the clouds have a thick side and a narrow side, and I want to put the narrow side to the edge, the flat ones, and then the ones that are popped up, I'm going to put the narrow side inward of our rainbow. So I'm also put some foam adhesive on the back of our sentiment. I'm going to center that right below our rainbow, and you can leave your card here as is. There's plenty of shimmer and shine to it. But I'm going to add some little details here with some embellishments. I use some flat back gems in white, black, and clear, just to add little clusters here and there all around our rainbow and our sentiment, just to add a little more detail and touch. I'm using the black here because I use the black as our mat. It's the outline of our clouds, and it's our sentiment. So it just kind of anchors everything beautifully. So now our card is complete. Here is our card with all those beautiful pearls, gems. You have all that shimmer and shine, and our beautiful background with that Chroma mist. So again, we use our Radiant Rainbow stamp set, our Chroma mist in Turquoise, Shimmer mist in Pearl, a variety of inks, our glitter glaze in Fallen Snow, and Raven ink and Raven detail embossing powder to complete our card. Like always, I'll have everything in the description box below. Thank you for being here.